Hello Daily Drafters and welcome back to the channel for today's Daily Draft. We are finishing out this week with another Modern Horizons 3 draft, and maybe we can find ourselves into Eldrazi for the first time in the format with a pack 1 pick 1 Writhing Chrysalis. This card is insane. Let's see what Sorin does first here. 2 mana 1/4 lifelink extort. Beginning of your post combat, if you gained 3 or more life this turn, you exile him and then he turns into a planeswalker. That is fine, good, I guess. But Writhing Chrysalis is currently, at the time of recording, the third best card in the set, regardless of rarity. This is a common, and it is the third best card in the entire set. And it is a reason to get into red-green Eldrazi here. So it is what we are going to start with pretty easily. And where can we go from there? What does this one do? 4 mana, 4/4. You don't lose unspent red mana. And then whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery, discard a card, draw a card. If it's the second time, deals 2 damage and then to each creature and each opponent, each creature they control. And if it's the third time, you add 4 red mana. That's not too bad here. There's also a Basking Brood Scale, which is pretty good. There's a Void Pouncer here as well. There's an Eldrazi Ravager, which is okay, as well as a Reiterating Bolt. Usually these Eldrazi decks don't care too much about instants and sorcery, so this probably isn't going to be much more than a 4 mana 4/4. There is the Reiterating Bolt as a removal spell. I think I'm going to take the Bolt over Void Pouncer and Brood Scale. I think having access to at least a little bit of interaction is going to be important here, so I'm going to go ahead and take that. Then what do we follow that up with here? Abstruse Appropriation. 4 mana, exile non-land permanent, and you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. And you can spend colorless mana, as though it were mana of any color, to cast it. We've also got Warped Tusker here, which I think is going to be the pick following up the Writhing Chrysalis here. There's a Bloodstained Mire. There's a Drownyard Lurker for the blue Eldrazi player, which we could very well be if we're going to take the fetch lands pretty highly here today. But let's go ahead and take the Warped Tusker and see if we can find ourselves into Eldrazi. We do have an Eldrazi Repurposer here. That's a pretty good one. 3 mana 3/3. When you cast it and when it dies, you get a spawn. Breaker of Creation, I do think, is actually a pretty good top-end spell for Eldrazi. I wonder if that's better than the Repurposer. I think I'm going to take the cheaper creature to start, but I would love to end up with the Breaker of Creation in this deck here. There's also another Warped Tusker, and Rush of Inspiration might not actually be too bad because it does count as a blue-red dual land if we want to go in Splash Blue as well. What do we have here? Not anything in the way of Eldrazi. We do have Signature Slam, so put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control, and then each modified creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature. But we do have a bountiful landscape here, and I think this is what we've got to take. This is the Teamer fetch land, and Eldrazi wants to be Teamer, and this works perfectly in this deck for us. So we will take that here. Sylvan Safekeeper, not quite for limited. That is a Cursed Wombat, which is pretty good. By pretty good, I mean very good. There's a Sheltered Landscape, but it doesn't really fix for the colors we want to. Gift of the Viper, not really a card I'm particularly interested in. I'm going to take the Cursed Wombat. That's pretty late for this card. And if we get pushed off of Eldrazi here, going into green-black for Cursed Wombat is not a bad spot to be in. Colossal Dreadmask could work even in an Eldrazi-based deck. There is a Twisted Landscape. This actually could work to splash the Cursed Wombat. It's not really a card you want to splash a ton, but it adapts into a 5/6 by itself, which is pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to miss a Colossal Dreadmask necessarily, and everything else here doesn't really fit with what we're trying to do. So I'm going to go ahead and take the land. And Horrific Assault is a pretty good pickup here. Serum Visionary as well, and a bunch of other cards that don't really pull us in any direction here. So we'll take that, take the Void Pouncer here, 2 mana 3/1, and kick it and have it be a 5/3 and trample, which is not bad. Unfathomable Truths might actually not be too bad if we do go like full 3 colors. But I'd like to think of myself as just straight red-green if possible. That is the best archetype in the format, and we did start with a Writhing Chrysalis, which goes a long way. Here's another Void Pouncer, and it's pretty much the only thing we would play here, so we'll go ahead and take that. Demon Furier, I don't know if that will make the cut. Go ahead and put this one on the sideboard. What does Reinforce do again? So you can discard it, put 2 counters on a creature at instant speed. Alright, let's hope we can open... Is it too much to ask to even get the 5 mana 5/5 red-green Eldrazi at uncommon? That would be a great one to start with here in pack 2. It's difficult to get into this deck because it is the best deck in the format, but if you can find your... Oh, that's the exact card that I said we should open. But you know what? Unfortunately for us, or fortunately for us, there's also another Writhing Chrysalis in this pack, and we just have to take it, as good as this card is. Yeah, let's take Writhing Chrysalis because the card is absolutely broken and stupid. So, take that here. And Eldrazi Linebreaker is also another broken and stupid card. 3 mana 3/3 Devoid Trample. Beginning of combat in your turn, target creature you control gains haste and plus X plus O until end of turn, where X is the number of Eldrazi you control. Yes, please. Kozilek's Command on the wheel would be pretty good. Petrifying Meddler on the splash is fine, but Linebreaker is the easy pickup here. Now we've got Nightshade Dryad for ramp and colorless sources, as well as Skittering Precursor. 3 mana 3/3 Menace. And whenever you sack a non-token permanent, which is mainly going to be the landscapes in this deck, you make a spawn. This is close. I think I'm going to take the cheaper card that lets us cast Writhing Chrysalis on turn 3. As good as Precursor is, I think the Dryad is where we want to be here. I would like to end up with at least 2 more landscape lands. But I'm liking our start here. Got a couple interactive spells and a couple very, very good cards in Linebreaker and Double Chrysalis here. So it's a good spot to be. We are finally drafting Eldrazi. Feels good. Seething Landscape is not the exact landscape I want to play, but I'm going to take it because there's really nothing else here for us except for Snapping Voidcraw, which could be good. It's much better if you can get it down early, and there's not necessarily a guarantee we'll be able to play that on curve. So I'm just going to take another colorless source here. Fixes for red and blue if we want to pick up some blue Eldrazi cards as well. Like a Snapping Voidcraw potentially later, but I think we got to take the lands before we take the Voidcraw here. Alright, Brea, no thank you. Serum Visionary, probably not. Looks like Eldrazi is not open from this direction. We've got a blue-green land and then a blue land here. So I'll go ahead and take Tranquil Landscape over not much for us. There is a Wither and Bloom. We do have a Twisted Landscape and a Seething Landscape. But I think I'm going to take another landscape land here. This is the perfect landscape land for us, but there is a It That Heralds the End, which is pretty good. I mean, it gives almost all of our creatures +1/+0, but we do have to have a colorless to cast it. This is tough. I think we got to take this card. As much as I would love another Teamer landscape land, I think It That Heralds the End is perfect for us here. We will have to make sure we end up with enough cards to actually make a deck, because right now we've got 11 total, and it's halfway through pack 2, and we're not seeing a whole lot for us here, so take another land. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with our options. Collective Resistance. Destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment. I guess I could potentially play that. Yeah, well, our archetype is not at all open. We just opened a couple really good cards early and then it got completely cut. Hopefully we get hooked up in pack 3. I don't really like Fangs of Colonia. I don't think I'm playing 2 Collective Resistances, so I'll take a Gift of the Viper. We did wheel the Snapping Voidcraw. That could be playable here. Siege Smash, maybe. I don't think I'm playing Suppression Ray in this deck. I'm not going to play Simulacrum either unless I get really, really low on playables. None of the blue Eldrazi wheeled, so Eldrazi is clearly not open, but for the life of this format, for the next month and a half, it will never be open. If Eldrazi is open at your table, then you did it. You got the table that all of us are enviable of, but you're just going to always have to fight at least 2 or 3 other drafters to draft this deck here. So, see what we can find here in pack 3. Alright, Ether Revolt. As long as a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, which we do have a lot of landscape lands, if a source you control would deal non-combat damage, deals that much +2. Whenever you get 1 or more energy, it deals that much damage to any target. It's really not good for us. There's an Emrakul's Messenger. There's also a Twisted Riddle Keeper. I think I'm going to take the Riddle Keeper on the splash here. There's also an Evolution Witness. That's also pretty good. We don't have a lot of +1/+1 counter synergies necessarily. But I do think a Riddle Keeper on the splash isn't half bad here. Really striking out again. Guess I can take a Seething Landscape here. Fangs of Colonia, Lion Umbra. Foul Strike is pretty much our only options, so I'll take another landscape land. Struck out again. Maybe a Nyxborn Hydra? Could also take Glimpse the Impossible. I mean, that does make a bunch of spawns. Not that, like, we really take advantage of those a ton, but maybe we can work something out there. Here's a Fanged Flames. That's pretty good. There's also a Bountiful Landscape. Eldrazi Ravager. And Party Thrasher here. Eldrazi Ravager, 6/6, Annihilator 1. Sacrifice 2 Eldrazi to return it from your graveyard to your hand. We do need some big cards here. I do like Fanged Flames a lot. But I mean, we're kind of missing more cards right here. I'd like at least one more, and I think the Ravager can fill that bill for us. So let's take that here. I guess Trickster's Elk is the only thing we can play here, and I'm not sure we're going to get another card out of this pack. Yeah, I mean, I guess a Wither and Bloom. And I think we aren't going to get another Eldrazi here. If I had to guess. Nesting Grounds could be interesting. I think I'll take Revitalizing Repass, though. Put a counter on something, give it indestructible. Nice little combat trick. And I'm really going to have to fill out the rest of this deck with some interesting cards, to say the least. Probably a Foul Strike. Okay, that's a gift. I will take another Warp Tusker. That works for me. But we're not going to wheel anything here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 22 cards right now. That's not bad. That's 18 lands if I don't want to play any more cards here. Does count splashing a Wither and Bloom, which I don't know if I want to splash necessarily. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 fetch lands that get a black source here. We're also playing like Collective Resistance right now, a Gift of the Viper. I just don't think Ether Revolt is what we're going for, so I guess I'm just going to take another landscape land. There was the black removal spell there, but that is double black, and I really don't think we're casting that in this deck. We're going to have to rely on the power of Writhing Chrysalis here. It is a great card. We've got 2, so goes a long way. Okay, I could splash a Gravedigg. Conversely, I could play a Lion Umbra. I don't think I really want to play any of these necessarily. Alright, Temperamental Oozewag is a card I can actually put into my deck here, so I'll take that and get all of the Siege Smashes if I want it. So we can fill out a deck. We've got kind of a little bit of filler here. So I'm going to go ahead and build this one. I'll see you after deck building. Okay, I think this is the deck I'm going to end up running here. I am actually going to try to splash Wither and Bloom and Cursed Wombat. Cursed Wombat kind of works well with Gift of the Viper that I put in over here, as well as both Writhing Chrysalis size. The Oozewag itself, Revitalizing Repast here. I mean, there's a lot of things this works with in our deck, so I think it's, even if we play it a little bit later and don't play it on 2, I think it's going to end up being pretty good. Combat Trick here. We have a couple removal spells, and by a couple, I mean 1, so that's not great. Glimpse the Impossible has a little bit of card draw / more spawns if we need it. A bunch of expensive ones, which are going to be pretty good for us here too. So I don't think this is like a tier 1 Eldrazi deck, but it is my first go at it, backed by a pack 1 pick 1 Writhing Chrysalis and a pack 1 or a pack 2 pick 1 Writhing Chrysalis. So let's see if we can get the job done with this one. I'll see you in game 1. Alright, opponent goes first. We do have a turn 3 Chrysalis if the Nightshade Dryad survives here, so we'll go ahead and keep this and attempt to do that. And we could have a turn 4 Warp Tusker. Is that how this is going to work? What do they got? Ironworks can't cast it. Fine by me. Let's see if it survives. I don't necessarily expect it to, but I would love for it to, so that the Chrysalis can come on down. Goodbye. I haven't drawn any of our colorless sources yet, which is a little awkward. I guess we cycle Warp Tusker here. I'm not going to turn that into a 3/3. I could just play this as a 3/3. That's actually not a bad idea. Yeah, let's just play this. So let's get a 3/3 on the battlefield. Potentially Stonewall their Amped Raptor unless they have a combat trick or something. Well, there's the combat trick. It's not really a combat trick, but it did work. And now it's dead anyway. Okay. In comes Amped Raptor, and down comes Writhing Chrysalis. Do we use the mana to cast it that heralds the end here? I don't think we do. I could do one of them next turn, and then also cast like Voidcraw, hold up Siege Smash here. This would cost 6 next turn, but I wouldn't have any sources to cast it, so let's end the turn here. Pass to attackers. I'm sure they attack here. I'm just going to go ahead and take it. Looks like they didn't have an instant. So it's kind of a chump attack if I had sacrificed and blocked, but that was risky for me to do, so I'm not going to do that, obviously. Alright, well, now I kind of have to do this. Bit unfortunate. Don't get to use my mana. I still don't have access to colorless mana. I've got like 7 fetch lands in this deck. Let's go ahead and play this one here. And trade 4 damage for 3 damage, or just try to block it here. Well, it's no attacks. They didn't have an instant last turn, so they have to have something like a removal spell or something else here. This does produce double colorless next turn, so we could use 1 for each of these potentially if we wanted to. All right, they got a Furnace Hellkite. That's going to be awkward for them if they copy this. Both of these are on cast, so they're not going to get anything except just a 2/1. Wait. So it enters as a copy. So they did cast it and got it any... I don't know. All right. I think I have to do this in full control mode. Otherwise, it's going to use both of this colorless mana here. So I have to pay 1. That resolves. And then I cast the Line Breaker. And that should resolve. All right. And Line Breaker to the rescue. So they lose this at the end of the turn, it looks like. Okay, that's a 5 powered. Okay. Alright, so they have a way to kill the Chrysalis, it seems, here. Galvanic Discharge, maybe. Oh, no. Another one of those that... GG. Yeah, GG. Gotta say, that was a combo. Okay. Alright, good for you. Wow. Alright, they got us there. Another Ether Revolt? Were they in our pod and got that one late here? That's still got first strike, so I can't do that. If I get rid of the Inventor's Axe, it's still a 3/2, which if I destroy artifacts, so that doesn't work. I have to chump, basically. I can kill this artifact. I might have to just to prevent some damage here. Man, that was a busted turn with Ether Revolt and Ral here. I just have to cycle this one now. And potentially still die. Yeah, still die. Let's just see if we draw anything here. Yeah, we did draw something we can't cast. Alright, yeah, they're big old board wipe when we had like 15 power on the board. That worked out. Okay, we're up first with a turn 3 Chrysalis again. So we have to sacrifice this for a green. But I think that's okay. Please don't kill it. They killed it. Guess we'll play Repurposer now. Probably going to want to play this tapped unless I draw a land, an untapped land, so I can cast Chrysalis here. Also gives me a black source for Wither and Bloom if I play that tapped. Alright, so that's going to make me sacrifice Repurposer here next turn. Missed on the land, so let's go here and here. Next turn we've got 6 mana if we don't draw a land. Okay, so that's got Death Touch. We can kill it as well. We did draw the land. So I think I want to kill that here. Rather than play a 7/7? Go to combat, go to attackers, attack with these two, keep the spawns around to cast the Warp Tusker. If they play their marauding whatever, I'd sacrifice the Repurposer here. There it is, sure. Do they have to choose their own creature or something? Oh, even more synergy with the Chrysalis there. Sacrificing it, turning it into a 3/4. Sure. I'm going to keep... Well, I could use these as colorless sources too. Do I need a land for any reason? I don't think so. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Warp Tusker, hold up Gift of the Viper here. Alright, I guess that was enough. Writhing Chrysalis to the rescue. Alright, we're up first here with a pretty crazy combo of turn 3 Voidcraw, turn 4 Riddlekeeper with Emerge, tap down and stun 2 of their permanents, including lands. So I think I'm pretty excited about that. Do I want to play this as a tap land? How do we sequence this here? I would need 4 mana to do this, but I do have, you know, the colorless from the Voidcraw itself, so let's just not play this as a tap land to start. Don't have a red source yet, but I think that's okay. If I can get away with this and have Voidcraw survive until my turn, it's going to be a huge target, especially for like Galvanic Blast now, unfortunately. But, I mean, I think I've just got to play it at this point. Okay, they didn't have Galvanic Discharge. Do they have any of the other red energy-based removal spells here? They could have Fanged Flames, they could have any number of things. Still no red source. Okay, they don't have it. So then we get to do 1, 2. So this is... So you cast it by sacrificing a creature and paying the emerge cost, reduced by this creature's mana value. So that means it cost 2, a colorless, and a blue. So that... So let's tap these 2 here, keep them tapped down, and hold this in hand. And I think I'll sacrifice this for black so I can get Cursed Wombat here next turn at the very least, because I don't have access to red yet. So I kind of like time walked them a little bit in a way. Hopefully they can't interact with this thing now. Try to get rid of their damage-based removal. Okay, so +1/+1 and indestructible, so I guess it's just a 3/3 now. Alright. Alright, go get my swamp here. Pass to damage, can't block it, it's got menace. My turn. Unfortunate. Sacrificed my only colorless source. Alright, getting a little color screwed here, unfortunately. I did choose the wrong color to tap down with the Riddlekeeper there, unfortunately, so... I guess the damage-based removal, if that's how they were going to kill it, I should have tapped down the green, because this gives indestructible, so... Alright, do they have another way to interact with it? Or counter the spell or something? Yeah, pretty much. Although this is going to get too big for that. I guess they didn't account for the extra counters here, so that's fine by me. So they get 3 spawn now. So I can't adapt this because it does already have permanent. So if it has no counters on it, put 2 counters on it. But I can attack with it. I mean, it would just trade with this. This thing has Death Touch. I think that's probably okay, though. So let's just see if that's what they want to do. If not, either way, after this, I'm playing Repurposer and then playing It That Heralds afterwards as well. Is this still... No, I was going to say, is it still colorless? No, this permanent is green. Because it becomes a green elk. The lack of red mana here is kind of annoying. So when this thing dies, they're going to get a 3/3 as well. So Trickster's Elk, not a bad card here. What does this one even do? So ETB's a 3/3 flyer and 0/12. Okay, they have a blocker. They have a nice blocker. Red source. Kind of. So nothing, can't adapt this right now. They don't have green, so I think we're free to attack here. They can block with their 0/12, I guess. Start chumping, sure. End the turn, sack this for red on their turn. Then we've got Chrysalis, which is going to get huge with the Cursed Wombat still on the battlefield here. But they do have a Death Toucher, so that's kind of annoying. I might have to take 7 here, actually. Hadn't considered that. Take 4. This is... It's a Menace Death Toucher, and then that can also trade with this. Okay, they chose not to. I'm fine with that. Probably should have attacked. I think they're actually ahead at the moment. They don't know what's in my hand, but I think they are ahead. I hate how these Eldrazi give you, like, non-stop priority. Could be the landscape as well, but these things, I mean, it just takes forever to get through these turns sometimes. I don't want to trade with Cursed Wombat anymore now that I have the Chrysalis down here. I wouldn't mind trading with Repurposer, but I would like it to be with that. So no attacks, and then next turn I can Reiterating Bolt something here. probably the Gatekeeper, I guess. I'd love to kill this. The fact that it has Death Touch is just holding me back a lot here. Because this thing could be attacking as like an 8-9 or something at this point. I haven't even done the math with with Wombat on the battlefield here. Alright, come on. Just pass through your priorities. That is one bad thing about this format on Arena is, like I said, non-stop priority. Okay, I guess they just roped us or timed out or something. So we'll take the win. I think we were up there. We weren't guaranteed to have won, but we were definitely winning. Alright, starting on the draw here. This hand is not great. We don't have colorless yet for Line Breaker. We can make itself have haste. Has a 4/3 haste. Oh, never mind. Now we lose to Guide of Souls. Just get black? Okay, good. So we got... Unfortunately, we have to kill Guide of Souls, like, now. So... This is... I mean, I have won many a draft games with this. Resolves. I mean, it turns everything into 2/2s, but I do need to Wither and Bloom the Guide of Souls, like, now here. Next turn we could Glimpse. That gives us 3 0-1s. That's a nice little combo because that makes all other creatures 2/2s. But theirs is a 4/4 here now. So I guess now we can play Repurposer. And Trickster's Elk is actually going to be pretty good here because we could like augment these 2/2s to turn them into... Well, it loses all abilities, base power, and toughness 3/2. Does that override Kudo? Alright, this is going to be a tough one here. They're doing a nice little synergy package here. Oh no, now Glimpse the Impossible with Kudo on the battlefield gives us 3 2/2s. That's pretty good. Ooh. That's 3 creatures. That's also 3 2/2s. Alright, let's do that. And it has reach against Eerie Auxiliary. Alright, what's the last card in hand? Is it going to affect the current board state? Goodness. Yes, it does. That's a 10/10. What do I do about that? Does it have trample? No. What on earth? They're just like playing Voltron here. Again, my Glimpse can make 3 2/2s on this board. Alright, more priority passing. Thank you. It's the landscape this time. I guess, is this the one that keeps things tapped down? It does. It doesn't have hexproof, so that could be good. But I would have to sacrifice a real creature. I don't actually have blue mana, so I couldn't do that. Alright, let's do this here. Destroy target artifact. These are auras here. Nightshade Dryad has Death Touch, so I could play that. Play a Landscape and Dryad here, potentially. Get two more spawn. Oh, they lose all abilities, right? No, in addition to their other types. So it's still going to have Death Touch. So let's do this and this. Alright, we're going pretty wide, and Kudo is kind of helping us here. What did they draw? Nothing. Okay, good, good. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. This can tap for blue. We can tap down Kudo. We could tap down both of their creatures, to be honest. Yeah. So tap for blue. Do I want to emerge it? If I emerge it, could I also cast Linebreaker this turn? I mean, I would have to emerge sacking maybe Repurposer here. So that would make this cost 4 mana. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I could still cast Linebreaker here. So let's emerge. So blue. Sack this. Pay an additional. So colorless, red, black. Stun your 2 creatures here. Yeah. And then play Linebreaker off of this and then give something like +7 in haste or something? +7/+7 haste? That was a nice little combo they had, but unfortunately we went wide enough to make it not work out for them. Alright, starting on the play here, we've got Tusker to cycle on 3, which can cast the Linebreaker itself, even if we don't draw any of our landscape lands before turn 3 here. Now do we just play Glimpse the Impossible on 3, get 3 spawns? That makes Eldrazi Linebreaker pretty good. Could attack as like a 5/3 trample the turn it comes in. Red-white. Nyxborn Unicorn, alright. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and get 3 spawn here. I think that's a pretty good use of this card. And then next turn, we actually could just cast a Warped Tusker? Like a turn 4, 6/8 reach against a red-white deck? We have to sack all of our spawn to do that, so I don't know if I want to, but I could. Conversely, I could play Linebreaker and then also play Reiterating Bolt, but I'd have to sack 2 of them to do that. It's going to be a tough decision on what to do here next turn. Conduit Goblin. Alright, playing one of my favorite decks here in the format. Got a land drop. There it is. My turn. All right. What do we got here? I think I need to kill the Conduit Goblin. And then I can play Line Breaker here. Give it self-haste. Attack for 6. And then next turn I can still cast Warp Tusker here. Again, it would require me to sacrifice both spawn. But I think that's going to be pretty good against a red-white deck. Yeah, so I'm going to just get the trigger off of this first so I can attack for more. Actually, I could have given this haste. That would have been pretty good as well. But I think both are fine. I probably am giving up a little bit of damage by doing it this way. But it's close here. Glimpse the Impossible. That should be fine. They do have some lands, and they can kill our Line Breaker here. So I'm sure what they will do. So that means we don't have Trample anymore. This thing can tap down this, but it does cost them some energy. So something I could do is actually untap this right now before I go to attacks. Never mind, I guess I would have had to do that in in full control mode. This does untap it, but again, now they're going to have 2 energy. If I do that next turn to try to ambush one of their creatures, they could just do this again. Which is probably not a great use of this card. More chump blockers. There's 2 chump blockers here. Fortunately, they drew the answer to the Line Breaker, which was our trample. How did they do? Oh, they had... That's right, they had a spawn here. Okay, alright. We need to definitely draw something. Do I get a blue or a black here? I think I get a blue in case I draw the big Emerge Eldrazi. Gonna be annoying if I draw Wither and Bloom now, but what can you do? That's a pretty good draw. I'll take that. See if they tap down the 6/8 here. I assume they will. Down it goes. Still 4 cards in hand over there. These Glimpse the Impossibles have done good work for them. Okay, just cast that as a 2/2, not the bestow. Oh. That could be a problem. Wow. Are we dead now? Because I can do that again. Hmm. Alright, let's see what we can do here now. Block here, 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 and here. I guess, right? So they can still give things +1/+0. This can have 5. I'm going to sacrifice all 3 of these. This will have 6 toughness. Maybe they have some sort of trample trick as well. They could have Siege Smash here, which wouldn't be great. Alright, go to damage. Take 3. Finish it off. Yep. Alright. Can we draw a +1/+1 counter? No, we can draw a land. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we cannot attack. So we block here, take 9, right? Yeah. Darn. That was unfortunate. Let's see if they go for it. If they play another creature, we're definitely dead. Yeah, we're way dead now. Oh, and another creature. And another creature. Yeah, alright. This is the card I've yet to have in any of my red-white decks that I think will be pretty good. No. Okay, we're starting on the draw here. This hand has a lot of potential. We need another creature to be able to emerge this. We need a red source to cast this. It's a little slow. I think we can keep it. We've got a couple of good draws in the deck here. I don't like the fact that our first play is turn 4 currently, but we have a very, very powerful card if we can draw one of our 3 drops. We've got at least 3 or 4 of them. That would work out pretty well. That does require red. Just want to hit my land drops here. That's why I'm playing this on turn 1. Okay, that also requires red. Alright, give me a red here. Now another thing I can't cast. So like I said, we had tons of draws we could have drawn into. So now we actually don't have a play unless we draw a mountain. So we're just gonna die. Oh, That was what I was hoping they didn't have. All right, so we are way dead here. Like so badly. It doesn't really matter which one. That has menace, that has lifelink. I guess if I keep this around and I draw an untapped land, I can... Actually, no, I can cast Riddlekeeper even if I don't have a land next turn, because I can use the mana from this to emerge it. But I don't think this is going to survive, considering this is our first creature we've played. They're probably just going to remove it and hit us for like 8 or something. So there it goes. There's hitting us for 8. And can we draw anything? Alright, I guess so. If there's a card that can get us back into it, it's this one. They're already at 30. Alright, destroy target creature. Okay. One, two, three, four, five, 6. I would have to emerge this, but it does keep these things tapped. Then I might be able to also play Reiterating Bolt if I do that. Let's see. That would cost 5 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So no, it wouldn't. Although, is the emerge cost brought down by It That Heralds the End? I don't know. Let's see. It is. Interesting. Okay. I'd like to kill the wombat, but I'd also like to get a creature down. I think I'll do this. I think they're tapped out right now. I think the ability is the adapt that they've got. Hopefully they don't have any of the 1 mana counter spells or anything. So that did work. This is just going to have to trade for that, unfortunately, unless they have another removal spell. There goes our Void Pouncer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not 7. Alright, pass the turn. Go to 1. No, okay. That has Menace, and if they give it, if they let it be a 3/4, then even this doesn't let us survive. I don't even know what that does. And the land should do it. So we block there. And then when it attacks, they just discard a non-land card. Alright, let's see if they go for it. If they do, in fact, get the counter, we do lose. And they did. Alright, good for them. Okay, so we didn't have a great version of this deck. I don't think we had any rares except for the 3/3 that gives trample and haste, which is a great one, but mostly got answered when we played it. Had 2 Chrysali, and actually think we lost many of the games we played it in. There's just some filler in here that I wish I didn't have. It's not the best Eldrazi deck, but still went 3/3. It was fine. Is what it is. We'll keep playing the Chrysalis throughout this format. It's a great card. Thanks for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time and next week for your daily draft.